उमज्ञान्तिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपदान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। So recite from verse number 54. Arjuna Vacha. Arjuna Vacha. स्थितप्रज्ञस्य का भाषा समाधीतस्य केशव स्थितधि किं प्रभाषेत किमासीत व्रजेत किम्। श्री भगवान उवाच प्रजहाति यदा कामान्
प्रजाहति यदा कामान्
सर्वान् पार्थ मनोगतान् आत्मैवात्मना तुष्ट स्थितप्रज्ञ तदुच्यते दुःखेषु अनुद्विग्नमना सुखेषु विगतस्पृहा वीतरागभयक्रोध स्थितधीर्मुनिरुच्यते यः सर्वत्र अनभिस्नेहा तत्तत् प्राप्य शुभाशुभम् नाभिनन्दन्ति न द्वेष्टि तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता यदा संहरते चायम् गुर्मो अङ्गानीव सर्वशः इन्द्रियाणीन्द्रियर्थेभ्यः तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता विषया विनिवर्तन्ते निराहारस्य देहिनः रसवर्जं रसोऽपि यस्य परं दृष्ट्वा निवर्तते यततो हि अपि कौन्तेय पुरुषस्य विपश्चितः इन्द्रियाणि प्रमाथीनि हरन्ति प्रसभं मनः तानि सर्वाणि संयम्य युक्तासीत मत्परः वशे हि यस्येन्द्रियाणि तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता ध्यायतो विषयान् पुंसः सङ्गस्तेषुपजायते सङ्गात् सञ्जायते कामा कामात् क्रोधोऽभिजायते क्रोधात् भवति सम्मोहः सम्मोहात् स्मृतिविभ्रमा स्मृतिभंसात् बुद्धिनाशो बुद्धिनाशात् प्रणश्यति रागद्वेष विमुक्तैस्तु विषयानिन्द्रियैश्चरन् आत्मवश्ये विधेयात्मा प्रसादम् अधिगच्छति प्रसादे सर्वदुःखानां हानिरस्योपजायते प्रसन्नः चेतसो याशु बुद्धि पर्याविष्टते नास्ति बुद्धि अयुक्तस्य न चायुक्तस्य भावना न चाभावयत शान्ति अशान्तस्य कुतः सुखम् इन्द्रियाणां हि चरतां यन्मनो अनुविधीयते तदस्य हरति प्रज्ञा वायुर्नावम् इवाम्बसि तस्माद्यस्य महाबाहो निगृहीतानि सर्वशः इन्द्रियाणीन्द्रियार्थेभ्यः तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता या निशा सर्वभूतानां तस्यां जागृतिं संयमी यस्यां जागृति भूतानि सा निशा पश्यतो मुने अपूर्यमानम् अचल प्रतिष्ठम् समुद्रमाप प्रवशन्ति यद्वत् तद्वत् कामायं प्रविशन्ति सर्वे स शान्तिमाप्नोति न कामकामी विहाय कामान्यः सर्वान् मां शरति निःस्पृहः निर्ममो निरहङ्कारः स शान्तिम् अधिगच्छति एषा ब्राह्मी स्थितिः पार्थ नैनां प्राप्य विमुह्यति स्थित्वा स्यामन्तकाले अपि ब्रह्मनिर्वाणमृच्छति हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Hare Krishna, welcome everyone. So we are last section of this chapter. First section was about a discussion between Arjuna and Krishna. Arjuna telling not to fight. Gives the reason, more reason, in addition to what he gave in the first chapter. And then understanding that the more he reasons, he is still confused because he thinks that he should fight also. But he understands that he's not desiring to fight. And that's how he's ignoring his duty. So he understands that there's a problem. And the best thing that he does is, at that moment, is he surrenders to Krishna. Having surrendered to Krishna and requesting him to instruct him what is good, Krishna takes over the reins and starts answering. Krishna starts with the 12th verse, from 12th verse onwards, 11, 12. And he talks mostly about Sankhya Yoga. What is Sankhya Yoga? Difference between the body and the soul. Why? Because when somebody is in ignorance, then the best thing to talk is the reason for which one is in ignorance. That is, one who considers oneself to the body. That is the worst ignorance. And later on, the things adds up. Right? With that ignorance comes Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moha. And what has been attacked to Arjuna was the Moha. He got Moha. Moha means what? Not understand attachment, mohit ho jana. And the result of that is one does not know what is to be done, what is not to be done because of attachment. So Arjuna, who is a great devotee of a Lord, pure devotee of a Lord, who is in a Yoga Maya, is not in Mahamaya, is in Yoga Maya, who has fought various battles before coming in front of Bhishma and Dronacharya. He has fought many battles where all of them were there. And he defeated them. So he had full confidence. But this time when he asked Krishna to take him in between, we wanted to see, he was same confident. But Krishna wanted to bring out some knowledge, therefore he put him into delusion. He put him under the moha. And when he put him under the moha, that means he brought that moha into him. It's a material quality moha. And with that, then all other things that Arjuna will speak will all be kind of a person who is attached. Right? And then Krishna, Arjuna then says, how can I fight? And all reasons he gives and what's happening to his body, he says. And then the second chapter starts. And then Krishna first talks about, you are not this body, you are the spirit soul. Therefore, Prabhupada also, most of his lectures are, we are not the body, we are spirit soul. After that, what? Now we have to understand, you have to realize the spirit soul. So what is the working? By what one can understand that one is the spirit soul? That is the realization of Atma. Right? So then the flow starts. How one can understand that one is not the body. But the knowledge, we got it. So that's a theoretical knowledge. But that theoretical knowledge is not enough. One has to get into practical, how to realize that. So then Krishna says, okay, let me first tell you that by fighting what you will get, by not fighting what you will lose and what you will incur sins. So then from verse 31, he talks about what benefit you will get. So when one talks about what loss and what profit one makes, that comes as a karma kand. Technically, karma kand. Why? Because there one speaks about what one will get, what one will lose. Right? One talks about that. So that is karma kand section. So we can say that from 31st verse till 37, Krishna talks about karma kand section. Of course, karma kand, literally, when we say that, in the Vedas, maximum portion is karma kand. If you do this yagya, this you will get. So many things. But pertaining to Arjuna, what he will gain and what he will lose if he fight or does not fight, is been spoken. So we can say that that's kind of a karma kanda section. And before that, coming to the karma kanda, in 29th chapter verse, he spoke about that up till now I have spoken to you about Sankhya Yoga. Now I will speak to you about Buddhi Yoga, by which you will not get affected. And then he talks the benefits of Buddhi Yoga in 2-3 verses. And then in that benefit, he says that the person who is situated in the Buddhi Yoga, he never incurs sin. And then the Buddhi, the kind of Buddhi which is required in this yoga, that is fixed, one-pointed. Right? What is that verse which says that? It is one-pointed focus. Huh? Vyavasayatmika buddhi, eka purnandan. 29. Or that is 39, right? So 31 till 38, he spoke about what you will get and what you will not get. Then in 39th verse, he says that till now I have spoken to you about Sankhya Yoga, right? That was till 28, 12 till 28, correct? So till now I have spoken to you about Sankhya Yoga, now here about Buddhi Yoga. And then he tells the benefit of what is Buddhi Yoga. Neha abhikarma nashas, there is no loss. Pratyevayu na vidyate, there is no diminution. And little bit, one great highest benefit, which is not gliding down into the material world or into the samsara, into animal life. That's the benefit. Even if one does little bit. And then why is it so? Why such benefit? Because he says that in this Buddhi Yoga, the endeavor is pinpointed. Vyavasaya, endeavor is pinpointed. One single focus. Which is that focus? To realize I am a spirit soul. Right? Or you can say it's a spiritualization. Focus is on spirituality. For somebody who is Atma Jnani, he thinks about realizing Atma. For somebody who is a devotee, he thinks of realizing Krishna. So focus is one. So Vyavasaya Atmika Buddhi. Atmika means the root of anything. Vyavasaya. Vyavasaya means endeavor. So Vyavasaya Atmika. The focus is one. Eke iha in this process is one. Bahut shakha yanandasya. And in other it is so many. Then he talks about the kind of people who are attracted to the topics of the Vedas, which talks about karma kand. They are attached to the bhog, right? And then if somebody is attached to the bhoga, then bhog aishwarya prasaktanam taya aprita chetasam, whose chetana is covered by that enjoyment propensity. Vyavasaya atmika buddhi na vidyate. Such a resolute determination to peep in spirituality or to work on the spirituality does not arise. Unto whom? One who is attached to sense gratification. Bhoga aishwarya prasaktana. Somebody who is not attracted to spirituality, or even after telling, not understanding, we should understand that that person has filled with desires to enjoy. Then now Krishna is telling Traigunya Vishaya Veda. So Vedas mostly talks about Trigunatma, Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. Nistraigunya Bhavarjuna. Go beyond the three modes, not beyond the Vedas. Sometimes people confuse that Traigunya Vishaya Veda. Veda talks about Traigunya, three gunas thing. No, not only three guna. It also talks about Gunatita, means that is beyond gunas. That is Bhakti Yoga. Right? Veda also talks about that. So when this verse says that Traiguna Vishaya Veda, it says that Vedas mostly deal. See, the Vedas deal mainly with the subject. Not with only with the subject. Deals mainly, most of the times, 90-95%, deals mostly with the what we achieve. Therefore, in ISKCON, which is the two Vedic scriptures we focus on, Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita. Why? Because even the writer of all the Vedas, Ramayana, Mahabharata, Puran, Ityadi, himself was not satisfied after writing all the Vedas. How can we expect to be satisfied after reading all the Vedas? And his confusion was not clear. Therefore, Prabhupada clearly told that as Narad Muni instructed to Ved Vyas, that you did a good job. You also have focused on Krishna as a goal. But very little, somewhere in the corner. And people who are filled with the desire, they want something. When they will read the scripture which is filled with, you get this, you will get that, they will focus on that only. They will miss Krishna in that. Therefore, you are not satisfied. Because you are not glorified sufficiently repeatedly about Krishna, as we do in ISKCON. Anything. What is the solution? Chant Hare Krishna. For anything we give solution, what? Chant Hare Krishna. That's good. That is the ultimate solution. But how that will happen, for that details we understand. How it will affect. So goal is that. So it is being said that Traigunya Vishaya Veda Nistraigunya Bhava Arjuna. O Arjuna, go beyond the three modes. Nirdvando, Nitya Sattvasto, Niryoga Shema Atmava. Focus on Atma. Then he says that, now question may arise, so which part of the Veda should I take? The Veda is filled with that. Which part of the Veda? So he says that Yavan Artha Udapane Sarvatra Samplutodake Tavan Sarveshu Vedeshu Brahmanasya Vijanata. One who is Krishna conscious, one of the purpose behind the Veda is to know Krishna, he will take from the Vedas that portion which glorifies bhakti. Right? Because what satisfies the water, if one has a lake, then he will get satisfied with. If somebody has some small water in a vessel, but if somebody who has got a lake, naturally he will have the small water what is needed, right? So similarly, a person in Krishna consciousness, he just takes that portion of the Vedas which is necessary. He does not take pain or get into confusion of reading all the scriptures, right? Therefore, somebody who comes new, we recommend him to read Gita and Bhagavad. But if they ask, should I refer other books also? What do we say? After reading Gita, Bhagavad, Chaitanya Charitamrita, then you read. Because by that time, it will be a long time. Instead of saying no. Because it's not like Vedas are meant to be read. But from that, you have to come to the conclusion of performing bhakti and chant. But leaving aside that, if they go into the Vedas, they will get confused. So first we recommend is read Gita, Bhagavad. Understand that. After that, then you get into it. But after going through that, understanding that the rest all the thing is useless and one will not take a pain. But if still person reads it and say, okay, now I want to read. So read with some devotee. So that person does not get diverted. Then, having spoken about that, then he says, so now focus on that portion of the Vedas which give you knowledge. That is the end of the Vedas. Vedanta Sutra, Vedanta, Upanishads, right? Bhagavad Gita is a Upanishad, Gita Upanishad we call. So, right? So now how do we understand that I am a spirit soul? What is this process? So, 47th verse says, Karmanyavadhikaraste. You have right to perform the duty, but what way to perform the duty? Without being attached to the results. Not even thinking that we are the cause of the result. And after understanding all that, not being detached from the working also. One has to work. So that's how he introduces the Nishkam Karma Yoga. Technically, this is called Nishkam Karma Yoga. If you read Prabhupada purports, Prabhupada will not say to perform Nishkam Karma Yoga. Prabhupada did not want to confuse. He makes clear what is this Karmanyavadhikaraste? Krishna consciousness. How Krishna conscious person will do? He will work it for Krishna. Right? But technically it is Nishkam Karma Yoga, wherein one should not be attached to the reason. Yes. Yes.
That you must perform it, but like you say that we have a right to cross the road. Then it's okay to cross, but you have right to cross.
Yes, but it's not necessary you have to cross.
The right to perform it, not that you
must perform. Yeah. Yes. But we cannot refrain from performing duty. Why? Because we have to act. So when we say it's not needed you have to perform the duty, then we assume that you are performing Krishna conscious duty. That is the connection with the Lord. That is there are two kinds of dharma. One is external dharma and one is internal dharma. External dharma is a dharma pertaining to the body, which is varnashram, as per the varna and ashram. Another is as per the soul, which is our constitutional position.
You are right to perform it. It's about varnashram.
It's
about varnashram. You are right, but it's okay to do.
It's okay if we do. Provided we are fully Krishna conscious. This nice. Just a minute. I'll show you that verse. Sorry. Uh-huh. I will. Okay, read. Somebody read from page number 106. 31. Last para. 2.31. Yes, please read.
As long as one is not liberated, one has to perform the duties of this particular body in accordance with religious principles in order to achieve liberation. When one is liberated, one's swadharma, specific duties, becomes spiritual and is not in the material bodily concept. In the bodily conception of life, there are specific duties for the Brahmanas and Kshatriyas respectively, and such duties are unavoidable.
Just a moment. We are reading from chapter 2, verse 31st, second, last para. Yeah. Please continue.
Swadharma is ordered by the Lord, and this will be clarified in the fourth chapter. On the bodily plane, Swadharma is called Varnashrama Dharma, or man's stepping stone for spiritual understanding. Human civilization begins from the stage of Varnashrama Dharma, or specific duties in terms of specific modes of nature of the body of it. Discharging one's specific duty in any field of action in accordance with the orders of higher authorities serves to educate one to a higher status of life.
Clear? There are two kinds of swadharma, specific duty. As long as one is not liberated, one has to perform the duties of the particular body in accordance with the religious principles in order to achieve liberation. So if we are liberated, there is no need to perform. But if we are liberated, one will perform the duties of a liberated soul. That is Krishna conscious activity. Full service to Krishna. So when we say it's not necessary, it's not binding. Because if somebody is liberated, then he will perform only Krishna conscious activity. It's a liberated activity. And even a person who is performing, who is fully liberated, he will perform the duty, normal duties, as if like binded, for setting example. As if like attached person. Like in a family person. He's a family, he's liberated. So he will perform as if like any other household person. But he's liberated. Because he's not attached. It's not attached. See, he has to, it's not necessary. He can simply chant. Tukaram Maharaj. Simply chanting. He was in the ashram. He was liberated. Not needed for him. He was more than sannyasi. See, he left like, and he was in his bhajan only. Huh? Yes, so that example for that is Prabhupada. He was liberated. Still, he was like, where is the temple? I want. Where is the cement? Why have you not brought it? So he was like kind of another person who is building something. Attached kind of thing. But he's setting example. How one should work fully for Krishna's benefit. That example we have today. We cannot take the example of Jad Bharat or Bharat Maharaj or like who left everything and all. But when they do that, that is also right. Why? Because they were fully absorbed in Krishna. So then that is the Nivrutti mark. That is Nivrutti. done with material duties, fully Krishna conscious activities. That is also fine. But as long as we are not liberated, Prabhupada says here, eh, has to fight.
He could not take the part of sannyasi.
He could not take no. He's more than eligible. He could not take no. He can do that, but for him it's not recommended. Set example. Otherwise, Arjuna, he is like kind of a person who is, he went to Swarloka and saying no to Rukmini. Know that. Urvashi. Can you imagine? It's not an easy thing. He's already self-liberated, realized more than that. He is in a connection with Krishna. That Sakhya Ras he has got.
No, why did Krishna say to beg for arms?
Huh?
Somebody does not give you arms. You kill him. Why?
Where?
Your nature. So if he's such a liberated person, so when the Krishna said, if you beg for arms, if they don't give you the arm, you kill them for your Kshatriya. Why did he say that?
No, he did not say that.
So that's what I've heard. But I've heard that.
No. What we have heard is, it's not. It's like we have heard something, but we are extending that. I'll tell you how. Suppose if he would not have fought, he had another option. What was? Go to the jungle. And let's focus here. Only two options: either fight or beg arms. Right? Because no kingdom, then what he will do? He will go in the jungle and beg arms. Now, when he goes in the jungle, begs arms. Right? Now, not all the people are kind of goody. This world is filled with somebody in the jungle also who will rubab jadayenge aapke upar. Or some innocent person, they will try to hurt that person. And he is a Kshatriya. Shat means hurt. Triya means one who protects from hurt. See, somebody he sees, somebody is seeing, he's hurting another innocent person. He can't see, his nature is Kshatriya. So what he will do? Hey, how dare you? It will come naturally.
That's a good thing. No?
That's a good thing. But then why he left then his duty? When he was officially assigned, he left that and he has come now here. Now, for a sannyasi, he has nothing to do with all this thing. He is interested in his bhajan. But his nature, so one has to apply one's nature. And nothing wrong in that.
Krishna said, "No, do what after Krishna again say you have to fight." He said, "This is the condition. Do what you." Then he said, "Now my OS
Gone. Yeah. Because choice is always there. But he tells, if you do this, you will get this. In such situation, person in such scenario should do like this. So he understands his scenario. So therefore, one has to accept one nature. One has to accept that, Baba, I am kind of a person who needs one nice room, nice AC. I can chant nicely. There is nothing wrong. Goal is not to be in a jungle and chant. Goal is to chant. If one can chant nicely sitting in an AC, it's okay. Chant is the goal. But what if somebody does not get AC? Then will one fight? That somebody has taken away my AC. Understands that he tries to get it because he wants to focus. But if he does not get, suppose, then what he will do? It's okay. He does not mind. It's okay. Why? Because nothing can happen. Light hi gayi hai, there is no light, there is no electricity, nothing can be done. So what is to be done? Nothing. Okay. He does not fight. Oh, how? Who has done this? Why? He does not get agitated. So as per the nature, if somebody needs some facility, it's okay. Nothing wrong in that.
Can we say that even for any of you have to whether Varnashram or Krishna conscious? Krishna conscious duties are easier. Can we say that? We say that
it's easier. Why? Because Susukham Kartum Avyaya. 9th chapter, it says that this process, it's a Raju Vidya, Raju Guyam, Pavitram Idam Uttamam. It's the biggest, highest duty. Pavitram idam uttam. Pratyaksha avigamam dharmyam susukham kartum avyayam. Susukham kartum. It can be happily done. Other processes are very difficult. In other processes, we have to leave the things like jnanamar, in jnanamar or karma yoga. In karma yoga, we have to please demigods. We have to completely please them by following the process. If you deny any one thing, you will not get the result. And in jnanamar, we have to leave everything. We have to detach from this material world, take sannyas. And in Ashtanga Yoga, we have to kind of go to the jungle and practice yam, niyam, asan, pranayam, pratyahar, dharna, dhyan, samadhi. Very difficult process. Bhakti is the easiest process. It can be easily done. Therefore, they give the example. It's like going in the lift. You see?
It's like saying that PhD is easier than that.
It's like saying PhD. Nobody will agree that. How can PhD be easier than graduation? Therefore, I don't say that example. But it's like Krishna conscious activity in Krishna consciousness. It's like a PhD. Why we consider that? Because knowing Krishna also means knowing Paramatma and Atma. Like knowing sun god or sun planet, one can also know the sunshine. Right? And knowing sun god is like a PhD. Why? Because sunshine is a part of it. But if we say, oh, it's like saying that PhD is easier than first standard, then nobody will agree that. So why we give such example? PhD is easier than. In Krishna consciousness, PhD is compared to knowing Krishna. And that sunshine is compared to knowing Atma. I hope I... Just like one who has 100 rupee note, he also has 20 rupees note. Is included in that. That example, everybody will agree. If somebody has 100, that means he also has 20. So one who knows Krishna also knows Atma. Because knowing Krishna means knowing that all material energy is his energy, spiritual energy is his part and parcel. Isn't it?
Bhakti is prescribed for Kali.
Bhakti is prescribed for all the ages. We focus on Kali Yuga, na? So when we say Bhakti is for Kali Yuga, does that mean Bhakti is not for other Yuga? It is there. But at that time, something else is recommended. Why? Because the position and practice is like, their body is like 1 lakh years. In Satyuga, the body's age is 1 lakh year. And everywhere is serene environment. Calm, quiet, you can focus. You can so focus, so absorb. There's no disturbing elements. And to them, you would say, chant Hare Krishna. They're like, come on, chant Hare Krishna. Koi acha wala batao. Koi tough. So, for thousands of years, meditate singly on Vishnu or in Atma, inside Atma. Let's try. Without eating, yes, that can be done, doable. Because at that time, the situation is such. But does that mean at that time bhakti will not work? Bhakti will work. But that will be too kind of lullu puchu for them. So, and for us now, even bhakti is like, it's so easy. Still, it's like, my God. Why? Because so much disturbing element. People want peace now. Shanta chahiye. People want peace. So in bhakti also, we chant, but if we are peaceful, we can chant better. So we say that chant is the thing. Peaceful is, forget that. Nobody, we need peace also to focus on chanting. But if we are peaceful, then we'll sleep. If peaceful senses are nicely, then what we will do? Sleep only. So we don't focus on peace. We say that focus on chanting. So whatever it takes, if you have eaten nicely, slept nicely, then we can focus on chanting. Focus is on chanting. So we'll move ahead. So it answers activities. Prajahati yada. Okay, now 47, na? कर्मण्येवाधिकारस्य मा प्रचोदयात् निष्काम कर्म योगा. And then he says, Yogastha Kuru Karmani Sangam Tyakta Dhananjaya Siddhi Asiddhyo Samo Bhutva Samatvam Yogi Uchyate. So being equipoised, equanimity. Oh, is it this started now? I'm feeling the air now. So maybe because of this, all the air was getting over. I have the air is coming. Not now. Can we off that? This? Can we off this? Durena.
Just put it down, put that slab down. I want the light. No, no, slab.
No. There will be. See, there will be a remote control. Switch over there. No. See, the remote is there.
I think there are two switches. One can be just one on the right and yeah. Thanks.
Okay, then on verse 49, Krishna is telling, Durena hi avaram karma. Keep aside other activity, avaram karma. So, which is the avaram karma? Keep aside avaram karma. Means that karma by which one does it with a desire for the result. Right? Because now we are talking about Nishkam Karma Yoga. So Krishna is telling, keep aside all abominable activities. Means which is the abominable activity? Is the activity with which one desires the result. Right? So Dure nahi avaram karma. Buddhi yoga dhananjaya. With what? With buddhi yoga. That is bhakti yoga. Buddho sharanam anvicha kripana phala hetava. So kripana, who is a kripana? One who desires fruit. So topic is going on about Nishkam Karma Yoga. And what does the buddhi yoga do? Jahati ube sukruta dushkrute. All good and bad activities, reactions to all good and bad, it destroys. That's the beauty. And then what happens when one performs buddhi yoga? Padam gachanti anamayam. One attains highest birth, that is going back to Godhead. And then he says that yada te moha kalilam buddhi vyatitarishati tada gantasi nirvedam shrotavyasya shrutasya cha. And when one attains that position, then one does not get affected by something that one has heard about. Oh, what will you get if you perform this activity, this karma? He'll go beyond the karma kand, right? Wherein one feels of getting this, by doing this duty, I'll get this. So he goes beyond what he has heard or what is being heard. The Shastra mentions, you get this, you get that. So he goes beyond that. Shruti viparit pannate yada thasyati nischala. And when one is nischala, when one is completely focused on such activities, then nischala, samadho achala buddhi. So his buddhi is like in samadhi. Tada yogam avapsasi. Then he's completely in that yoga, situated in that yoga. So then what is the symptom of such yoga person? Then Arjuna asks the question. Right? When somebody's buddhi is achala, fixed, fully in buddhi yoga or in bhakti yoga, then one is thira. So then Arjuna wants to know more about the symptom about this person. So then he asks verse number 54, which is the last section, which we are going to do now. Last section, 54, wherein he asks 4 questions. Arjuna Vacha, Sita Pragyasya Ka Bhasha. First question is, what is the Sita Pragyasya Ka Bhasha? First question is what? Sita Pragyasya Ka Bhasha. Means what? Kaun si bhasha mein? He says, no. Bhasha is, what is the bhasha do? What does the language do? Language expresses something. We use language to express something. So Arjuna is saying, how do you express the symptom of this person? Who is the Sthita Pragya? How you express him? Means what are his symptoms? His characteristics. So that is his bhasha. Not his bhasha. How do we describe that? So what are the symptoms? So first question is Sthita Pragyasya ka bhasha? Samadhi tasya keshava, one who is in samadhi. Second question, Sthitadhi kim prabhasheta? Kim prabhasheta? Kim ashita vrajeta kim? Kim prabhaseta? Prabhaseta means how does he speak? How does he speak? So how does he speak means how does he respond? How does he respond? So how does he speak means how does he speak? How does he speak means how does he speak? How does he speak means how does he speak? How does he speak means how does he speak? How does he speak means how does he speak? How does he speak means how does he speak? How does he speak means how does he speak? How does he speak means how does he speak? How does he speak means how does he speak? How does he speak means how does he speak? How does he speak means how does he speak? How does he speak means how does he speak? How does he speak means how does he speak? How does he speak means how does he speak? How does he speak means how does he speak? How does he speak means how does he speak? How does he speak means how does he speak? How does he speak means how does he speak? How does he speak means how does he speak? How does he speak means how does he speak? How does he speak means how does he speak? How does he speak means how does he speak? to the situation when it arises. So something has to come. So when some situation arises, say good or bad, basically a good situation or bad situation, how does he respond? How does he act? Kim asita, how does he sit? So when situation, good or bad situation comes, what does he, how does he behave, his senses, how he acts, how he controls his senses. Basically, how he controls the senses here. Asita means controls the sense. Prajeta means how he uses his senses. Kima asita means how he sits, how he controls his senses in agitating situation. Right? How he controls his situation. And how he Vrajeta Kim, how he lets his senses interact in such situation. Right? So these are the four basic questions. One is what are the symptoms? And third, and the three others are when some situation arises, then how does he control the senses? How he sits, what he say outward, how he controls the senses, and what he say if he has to say something or he does not say, and how he responds to the situation. That's a Vrajeta. Sweet. So first 55th verse talks about first answer. Question to the first question. Answer to the first question. So how does he, what are his symptoms? Shri Bhagwan Vacha, Prajahati yada kaman sarvan partha manogatan. Prajahati, jahati, jala dena. Prajahati yada kaman. When one burns away the desires, which kind of desires? Which comes in the mind. Because can the desires be given up totally? No. But the desires of the mind can be given up. Can the desires of the soul be given up? No. Why? Because the soul is intrinsic nature. Just like the nature of the fire is nature of the fire. Agni is warm, heat. Can we remove that? Can we stop that? No. Wherever there is a fire, there is heat. So that's the nature. So can we remove or give away the desire of the soul? Because this desire is the intrinsic nature of the soul. But is the desire of the mind the intrinsic nature of the soul? No, it's a desire of the mind. It can be given up. So one who gives up, prajahati yada kaman, sarvan partha manogata, all the desires of the mind, not even a single desire left. Not even a single desire of the mind. When all the desires of the mind one gives up, sarvan partha manogatan, but then person's nature, human being, desire is the main thing, right? If somebody is alive, means desire is there. So then how is desire gets fulfilled? Atmani eva atmana tusta. Atmana means in soul. Tusta, santusta. Through what? Through Atmani. Here Atmani means mind. Because with the mind, he has given all the desires of the mind. So then where does he apply the mind? He applies the mind on the Atmana, in the realizing the self. Right? And he gets satisfaction from that self. Because self, Atma, is by nature, how it is? Pure, not only pure, blissful. Blissful. Atma by nature is blissful, non-hungry, not thirsty. Atma by nature is not hungry, not thirsty. I'm not telling not to drink water. The body is for the body. So that when the body gets water, then one will be santusta and can focus on Krishna. And just I'm telling you, but when it comes to Atma, for that Atma, it's not thirsty. Atma does not feel the thirst. Thirst is for the body. So one has to understand that. So one should not give the water to the body? That's needed. Why? Because Atma is right now in the body. So we have to do the needful to take care of the body. But understand that the soul does not need. So when one is focused on the soul, we hear, no? He's so absorbed that he has forgotten eating, drinking. It's the kind of absorption. One who is focused on the Atma, that Samadhi, Yam, Niyam, Asan, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyan, Samadhi. That anthill was, that who was that? Hiranyakashipu, the anthill. Valmiki in an anthill. How can so absorbed in the water, in the Atma? Then what will happen to the body? Fully kind gone only. You see? Is recommended for us. Okay. For us, what is recommended? Drink nicely and chant. Focus on Krishna. Because focus on Krishna is the main thing. But if somebody is only absorbed in eating nicely, drinking nicely, even it may be prasad, we should understand. So intention matters. One is trying to enjoy, the mindset, mentality to enjoy, that matters.
But you said that the nature of the soul is bliss.
Yes.
So
Yes.
when Dasharath died, pain
Pain.
because of Ram.
Yes,
died.
one was.
He was the highest stage of Krishna consciousness. But he was in extreme pain.
Yeah.
But the nature of soul is to be in bliss.
Yes.
Can we say that that is also kind of bliss that when he was in pain?
Yes. Because in Krishna conscious activity, even that suffering, say parama sukha, dukha, whatever pain one endeavors, one gets, feels in practicing bhakti, is actually parama sukha. That bhajan is there now. That in bhakti, yeah, they feel that externally it may look like they are suffering, but it's a blissful experience. Like when we like somebody who is going for a holiday after exams, he's told that we have to climb the mountain, and they are climbing and they are saying, "Arey baap re, kitna taklif ho raha hai," but they are in blissful. They are relishing that. When they climb, they feel that, oh, so मजा आ गया. काय का मजा आ गया? चढ़ने में इतना तकलीफ हो रहा था, फाप रहा था, but still इस मिलने का मजा आ गया. So it may look externally, the person is like behind, running with a balloon, perspiring, angry, stop, yelling. But that's a blissful experience because it's not in the Moha Maya, it's in the Maha Maya, Yoga Maya. In that, it may look externally, but it's a blissful experience. Like example is given. Is that a good example? I don't know. But yeah, somebody who's having a briefcase filled with the money, and that person is struggling to take it, businessman. He's feeling that pain, but he's blissful. Another example Shastra says is that husband and a wife. A wife tolerates the weight of her husband on top, but she's blissful, happily enjoying the intimacy. You see? So these two examples Shastra gives. So person may feel, all right, that person is perspiring and going to a lot, but it's a blissful experience. So that's how Krishna conscious activity is blissful, though there may be a lot of troubles, but that troubles are blissful experiences. Prajahati yada kama sarva parthan manograta atmaneva atmana tushta. Atmana tushta. Atmani, mind. Yesterday we saw the mind can mean human being, mind can mean determination, mind can mean body, mind can mean supreme determination. All these are the different names for Atma. Atma, based on the context. So Atmani eva Atmana tushta. So with the mind, one is focused on Atma. Huh.
There is soul, then subtle body, then growth. So mind intelligence equal to the part of subtle. So how the subtle body come to the contact with the soul, and because the whole program here is in the mind movement, and this sense gratification is related to the gross body, because in the gross body senses the uh, like do the sense gratification. So if soul give up the body, this gross body, then there will be no self gratification should be there. But still mind is there. So by mind, it is getting so. how this subtle body gets to the soul.
That's how, whenever one takes birth, with that comes the body, mind, intelligence, and then mind is contaminated mind.
From
Since
the
very beginning. Anadi ka. Anadi. Ah. Yeah, mind goes with that. Mind and intelligence, subtle thing goes with that. The desires, it goes with that. If somebody thinks that, okay, I'll perform Krishna conscious activity later on, but such mind goes on in the next life. You have to start from there. But if you have purified it, it goes with that. Therefore, purification is the process. You purify. And how to purify? Nishkam Karma Yoga. That's the point. Nishkam Karma Yoga. Because desire for the mind to enjoy. So who is Tita Pragya? One who has given up Prajahati Yada Kama, that desire for enjoyment. Which is coming from Sarvan Partha Manogata. Then what will he do? If he gives up that desire, but desire is the nature of the soul. So how will he get happiness? What he will do? Can he give up such desires? Atmani eva atmana tusta. He has to satisfy it in Atma only. Means his whole mind is focused on Atmani eva atmana tusta. Tasya prajna pratisthita. Then that person is established, self-realized. That is the symptom. That's the symptom.
The soul only desires to serve Krishna. Soul or desire only to serve Krishna.
Should be the, or a person who is Nitya Siddha or pure devotee, he desires to serve Krishna.
For the joy and gratification.
Ah.
It is actually the desire of the mind, not of the soul, right?
Soul is pure, but now he had got it. So along with the soul, it's a consciousness. So consciousness is impure. Consciousness has become contaminated. Originally, the consciousness is pure, which is Krishna conscious. But in material world, when one comes, he is attacked by three modes, which disturbs his consciousness. And because of such consciousness, one gets the body with mind and intelligence, distorted mind and intelligence. With that, one tries to enjoy separately.
The soul is spiritual.
Soul is pure spiritual.
There is this material enjoyment. The enjoyment can affect the spiritual also, spiritual soul.
It is so powerful that it can, like you see, mind. Basically, intelligence is strong. Soul is stronger than the ahankar. Ahankar is stronger than the intelligence. Intelligence is stronger than the mind. Mind is stronger than the senses. Right? But what happens if the senses, pramati, so powerful, when that one verse will come, it takes away the mind of a wise man also, who is trying to control the senses. Mind is so powerful that a person who has intelligence, but still, if that determination and focus is not there, intelligence ko har leta hai.
So when the body suffers, the soul also suffers. Suppose there is suffering because of desires or wrongdoings or whatsoever, karma, because of karma. The soul also suffers, or only the
Soul suffers by identifying. As long as that identification is there, that I am that body, when the body gets pain, then that person suffers. Just like if somebody says that you have this Mercedes car which is part outside, the BMC has got that there, fallen from that machine. As soon as when we hear somebody whose vehicle is there, they feel so pained. Why? Because identification with that vehicle as mine. I mean mine. But if somebody who does not have that, will not feel at all. Nothing will happen. Why? Because identification. So the higher the identification, that much pain one goes through. Otherwise, there is no connection, if you see. If somebody understands, okay, my Mercedes is okay, or it's fallen, so what? And somebody who really has that buddhi, he will not feel that pain, does not mean that he's callous, irresponsible. Usko koi farak nahi padta nahi. It's a vehicle. But now he understands, okay, this has happened. He has no control over it. So what he feels, what he does, he says, okay, tell me what happened. Means what he's supposed to do now. Take action. He focuses on that. But pain, effect will be there. Because his vehicle, na? Effect will be there, but pain will not be. Suffering, pain will be there. Laga hai na? Pain will be there, but suffering won't be there. One will not suffer. So even a devotee, they go through the pain, disease, death, separation, all this heat, cold. Because material world means sukh, dukh, dualities. Pains will be there. Suffering is optional. Suffering is optional. So pain of this world will be there. As long as we are in this body, in relationship, pain will be there. Because nobody is perfect. Differences of opinion and fights in society, amongst countries, even at home, even in the temple, while doing service, in front of the Lord. You know, differences will be there, pain will be there, but suffering will be optional. How we respond to the situation will be optional. Therefore, if you understand that these things are bound to happen, how does the Sthita Pragya person reacts to the situation? It's important, you see, how to react. His symptom is focused on Atma. To please Supreme Lord. Lord will be pleased if I talk harshly with this devotee? Just ask that question. Will Lord will be pleased in such situation? This person has slapped me, or has taken my thing, or has spoken me, or hurted me. How should I respond? By which my Guru Maharaj, if he sees me responding, that may even become tolerating, or that may even saying gravely, how dare you touch Krishna's property, or this thing. Because at some time, if that devotee is cheating, ISKCON and doing things, we have to speak to him gravely. So what will please? If we are in the position and it's our duty to protect, at that time we may have to speak harshly. Dare you do again? I'm warning you. I have to speak. Cannot be, oh Prabhu, please. No, it can't be like that. And somewhere one has to tolerate. Somebody just hurts you by speaking nonsense, anything, and one just for sake of not igniting more thing, sorry, just to keep that relation, just tolerates. So how to respond? So therefore, the symptom is gives up all the desires coming from the mind and satisfied in the self. Next, answer to the second question. Dukkeshu anudvigna mana. Sukheshu vigata spruha. See, dukkeshu, when it comes dukkha, then what happens? Anudvigna manaha. Vignaha, anuvignaha mana. Sukheshu vigata spruha. It does not rejoice. 56. So how does he speak? His mind is not disturbed. Dukkeshu. So what are the kinds of dukkha? So in the dukkha, he is anudvigna mana. He is not disturbed by the appearance of dukkha, suffering. So what are the kinds of suffering in this world? Adi Devik, Adi Bhautik, Adhyatmik. So dukkha, when we say dukkha, Adi Devik, Adi Bhautik, Adhyatmik. So in dukkha, so how he speaks means when the dukkha comes, how he will say, what he will say. So when the dukkha comes, Adi Devik, Adi Bhautik, Adhyatmik. So Adi Devik, heat, cold, right? Adi Devik, Adi Bhautik, by the other people, tiger, mosquito, other people's living beings. Adi Bhaut, Adi Atmik. Atma means body. Atma means mind. You see? So the body gets diseased. Hunger, thirst. So then what will he speak? It's my own karma. My prarabdha karma. I have to suffer. Somebody took away from my rope line my dhoti. And I had to go for worshipping. And I thought it's lying there. In 2 minutes, I'll pick up and go. But dhoti is gone. Now, agitation. Kisne liya? I have to go for the service. And at that time, the service person says, hey, you are late. Come on, you are always like this. And you have done once. But he's speaking, you are always like this. Nobody will say. And service is standing there. Now you keep on responding that person, finding out who took it. So at that time, do the needful. See next dhoti, pick next dhoti, go and do the service. Tell to that person who has told you are always late, I'm sorry because we made a mistake. Instead of giving all, And one who has taken that also have to forgive or find out why he did and forgive that person because you have to stay with him. He could have taken it in the emergency. Just like now, no dhoti, you have to do the work. You may take it in emergency. See, it comes in a situation. Disturbing situation comes. If you are serving, things will come. If one is not serving, being aside, नहीं मंदिर में सेवा नहीं करेंगे, devotees ऐसे है वहाँ पे. How will we progress? Because tell me, have you progressed when the situation is pleasant, or have you progressed when there is a dukkha? Dukkha. Only in dukkha one will progress. If somebody who says नहीं पापा टेम्पल में devotees बहुत भारी है, इस प्रोग्रेस नहीं करना है क्या? So dukkeshu anudvigna manaha. One is not disturbed by the appearance of suffering. So what he says then? What does he speak? It's my own karma, prarabdha karma. And Prabhupada writes, Prabhupada, see how he mentions, dukkeshu anudvigna mana. He says Krishna has arranged this situation for my purification. Isn't it? Dukkeshu. Or he would have given me more, but he reduced it. In that way he speaks. And Sukheshu, in Sukha, what he says? Not be jubilant. Or Krishna, it's Krishna's arrangement. I have to suffer that also. See, it's my prarabdha. I have to go through it. Like somebody who he just, and I say some glorification comes. Then it's Krishna's desire, Krishna's mercy, my prarabdha. I have to go through it, suffer through it. It's not attached from that. So Sukheshu and Dukheshu and Dviknamana, Sukheshu Vigata Spraha, Vita Raga Bhaya and a Krodha. So Vita Raga. So what Raga means? Attachment. He does not get attached to the Sukha which comes. When the pleasure comes, one gets attached, no? So he's Vita Raga, without attachment. Bhaya, fear. What if so then when Adi Bhautik Klesh comes, Adi Bhautik means some tiger, lion, or somebody troubles. So not fearing from that. Like Jad Bharat. Jad Bharat, and he was taken away by the Dacoits to hang over or to cut, like the Bali chadane ke liye. He was taken. So what did he do? He went with them. And then he was told that abhi tumhara bali chadne wala hai. And he's standing, not revolting. Right? And what happened? That Devi came and protected. And he was not angry with these people also. Okay. So Vitaraga, Bhaya, Krodha. Also he was detached from the Krodha. He did not get upset with those people. How dare you touch me? Then Yah Sarvatra Anabhisneha Tattat Prapya Subhashubham Nabhinandanti Na Dveshti Tasya Prajna Pratishtita. Second, how we will speak. Sir, Yah Sarvatra Anabhisneha. Sneha means, Abhisneha means what? Special affection. So affection, naturally a person will be compassionate, na? Devotee will be compassionate. Na? So sneha hona chahiye ki nahi? Naturally hona chahiye. But not specific sneha. Means somebody who does good, bahut acha hai, tum jiyo hazaron saal. So nice. And like somebody comes and garlands you, gives you some donation. Oh, so nice. You take nice care of the devotees. This is how it should be. I bless you. And somebody who disrespects, does not glorify, says something bad, oh, you such nonsense person, तुम्हारे मुंह में कीड़े पड़े, may you die early. Some people may, why? Because they hurted something or did something which is not pleasing. So that should not be done. So yah sarvatra anabhisneha. It's not specific, like sneha. Tattat prapya shubha shubha. When he gets shubha or ashubha, he does not speak such things. Na abhinandanti, na dveshti. So abhinandan. Oh, so nice, such a nice devotee. You are so nice. You know how to take care of the devotees. Just because it's giving garland and donation, you know how to take care of devotees. And somebody who does not, oh, what kind? You don't even know how to take care. So, na abhinandanti, na dvesti. Tasya prajna pratisthita. So, yad. So, this is for answer to how he speaks. That is what he says and what he does not say. Now, verse 58 onwards, 58, he will speak how does he sit. So, how he controls his senses. So 6 verses from verse number 58 will answer to the third question. How does he control his senses? Kim asita, how he sits, how he controls his senses. Yada samharte chayam kurmangani va sarvashah indriyani indriyarthebhyas trasya prajna pratisthita. One who is able to withdraw his senses from the sense object as a tortoise draws its limbs within the shell is firmly fixed in perfect consciousness. When he draws his senses away completely, yada samharte cha ayam kurma anganiva sarvashah. So he controls his senses. He takes his senses inside like a turtle. So Prabhupada here mentions the senses are compared to the venomous serpents. They want to act very loosely and without restrictions. The yogi or a devotee must be very strong to control the senses, serpents, like a snake charmer. He never allows them to act independently. There are many injunctions in the revealed scripture. Some of them are do's, some of them are do nots, and some of them are do's. Unless one is able to follow the do's and do nots, restricting oneself from the sense enjoyment, it is not possible to firmly fix in Krishna consciousness. The best example given herein is the tortoise. The tortoise can at any moment wind up its senses and exhibit them again in any time for a particular purpose. Similarly, the senses of Krishna conscious person are used only for some particular purpose in the service of the Lord and are withdrawn otherwise. So, point here is how does he sit? He controls his senses. He takes it inside. When it's not needed, he does not use it. When he needed, he uses it. When it is needed, Prabhupada says, for Krishna conscious activity, he uses it. Otherwise, he controls his senses. That's the simple thing. Like a tortoise. Verse 59. Vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehinaha rasavarjam rasopyasya param drashtva nivartate. If somebody may say that, okay, if somebody is just withdrawing his senses, not using it, then he's a self-realized devotee. Then I have seen that there are many people who are not using his senses, like a sick devotee, like a person who is told by a doctor, be on a diet, don't eat this, don't eat that. So that person also does not use his senses, eating all at senses. And that person is also Sthita Pragya. So Prabhupada says, no. Krishna says, Vishaya vinivartante. From Vishaya, sense object, vinivartante. One may have stopped responding to the Vishaya. Vishaya vinivartante. Nir aharasya dehina. Who? Nir ahar. One who is not eating. Right? It can also mean One who is not taking into any sense object. Here example is given of nirahar. But nirahar is only for what? One sense, that is tongue, eating. Right? But it can also mean to something who is like not even touching. Like somebody says, don't touch your wife at all, otherwise you will die. And that person may look like refrained from touching even any girl. Like Pandu. You know Pandu? Father of Pandavas? He was given that curse. That if you, with a calm vasana, if you approach your wife, you will die at that moment. So then he gave up, not touching. But then mind is so strong. He was with his wife alone, and mind got agitated. He tried to touch it, immediately died. Right? So suppose somebody that touch. I'm just giving the example of a touch. Yeah? Somebody gets that curse, and he says, "Okay, now no touching." Then it looks like niharasya. That is also niharasya. Not eating or not touching. That. Even seeing also. Somebody who's blind, not seeing also, kind of. So it can mean any. It can mean either eating or it can mean any senses. So somebody, Vishaya Vinivartante. So for that person also, he's not using his senses because of some reason, material reason. So Vishaya Vinivartante Nirarasya Dehina Rasavarjam Rasa Apyasya. But the taste remains. He has given up the sense object, but the taste remains. Param Drashtva Nivartante. So how can one give up that taste? For a material person, he may refrain from the sense object by not eating, because doctor has told him, don't eat, otherwise you'll get the disease. So he's refraining. So he may refrain from the sense object, but the taste, he can't refrain from the taste. Taste will not go. Right? Raso varjam, rasa apiyasya, ras. How will that go then? Param drashtva. When somebody gets param means something great. Param means something shrestha, great. Param drashtva, so having tasted, drashtva means seeing here. But now nihara, so having tasted, na? Or having seen, or having touched the feeling of Krishna's touch. Right? See, somebody gets that. Param drashtva, that greatest taste or touch. Param drashtva, nivartante. One is released by that. I hope makes the point clear. So this implies that the ability to realize the soul directly is something that has to be attained through the practice, not something that is naturally possible for everyone, such as ignorant person fasting. Right? Ability to realize souls directly is something that has to be attained through practice, not by refraining just from the senses. Because person may refrain because of some reason, external reason, but taste remains, and thirst remains. How can that go? And somebody tests something higher. 59. So that thirst for the sense object has not been destroyed. However, for a Sthita Pragya, who has realized the Atma, Param Drishtva, which is superior to the sense object, which is full of self-manifesting bliss, even the thirst for the sense object, that is rasa, is destroyed. His quality is destruction of sense objects and the thirst, from which there is no deviation. Like a sick man whose extinction of the sense object is not accompanied by the extinction of the thirst. Okay. So 57 now, 58 and then now 15 Vishaya Vinvarda Nirarasya Devi now. Verse 60. Yadato hi api kaunteya purushasya vipaschitaha indriyani pramatini arati prasabham mana. Now the effort at the sadhana, at the stage of sadhana, is very great. Without power to turn back the senses completely. So this verse speaks about the rarity of being such a sthita pragya. So he says that yatato hi api kaunteya. So at the stage of sadhana, one who is sadhaka, who is trying, yatato, he is trying. Yatato hi api kaunteya. Purushasya vipaschita. Indriyani pramathini. Indriyas are so pramatta, so strong. Haranti prasabham mana. They take away by force. Prasabham means by force. They take away the mind. For a man intent, who's intent on conquering the senses, who can distinguish his real nature as Atma from the sense object, that is Vipaschita. The senses, such as the ear, which act as an agent or doers, still take away the mind as if by force. Prasabham. Taking away. What does it mean by taking away the mind? So the taking away here means that the senses make the mind indulge in sense object. Hmm? Prasabham mana, that mind takes away. Hmm? So taking away here means that the senses make the mind indulge in sense object. Now, how do the senses make the mind indulge in the sense object if the person is situated with discriminating knowledge which opposes indulging in those sense object? Question may arise. If a person knows that he is not supposed to indulge in sense object, how still with such discriminating knowledge a person is not able to oppose indulging in those senses? Because the senses are very strong. Indriyani pramathini. They can suppress that knowledge. Somebody asked, no, how is senses are mind is intelligent, mind is stronger than senses, and mind is and the intelligence stronger than mind. But still how it happens? So this is telling. Indriyani pramathini. Haranti prasabham mana. Haranti prasabham. Prasabham means by force. Haranti takes away. By force, it takes away the mind. Senses are strong. Pramathini takes by force. Prasabham mana. Just as a person protects a great treasure from the thieves that is sitting. So a Sita Pragya person carefully protects his steadiness in jnana from the senses. He protects his knowledge because he has heard theoretically. But practically what happens? Senses are so strong. But then he focuses, is determined, his focuses, he protects actually that knowledge. Therefore, reading again and again focuses on that. Because these senses are like the thieves otherwise. Right? So person who is in Sthita Pragya, he carefully protects his steadiness in jnana. Steadiness in jnana. Therefore, attaining that steadiness in jnana. Otherwise, senses take away forcibly that knowledge. तानि सर्वाणि संयम्य युक्तासीत मत्परा वशे हि यस्य इन्द्रियाणि तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता. तानि सर्वाणि Sanyamya, one who restrains his senses, keeping them under full control and fixes his consciousness upon me, he is known as a man of steady intelligence. In the previous verse, before this, Prabhupada gives the example that even a haranti prasabham mana, indriyani pramaditi, the indriya are so strong that it forcibly takes away. He gives the example of Vishwamitra Muni, who for 1000 years he was performing tapasya. But what happened? Menka came and he got indulged in that. Then also the example which is given is Durvasa Muni. Maharaj Parikshit, Maharaj Ambrish, he was waiting, and then Durvasa Muni got angry because of his breaking the fast. So that example is given. So Durvasa Muni simply became agitated by his mind and he cursed him. But that did not happen with Maharaj Ambrish. And also Yamunacharya, a great saintly devotee, he says that whenever I think of the sex life, my face at once turns from it and I spit at that thought. Can you imagine? A devotee, when he thinks of a woman or enjoying, he just tastes like something obnoxious and he spits at that thought. How can that be achieved? Because by devotion. It is only by Krishna consciousness activity or by devotion to the Lord one can reach such a stage. So, verse 61 brings to that point that only by focusing on Krishna. So, here it says, Tani Sarvani Sanyamya Yukta Asita Matpara. Yukta, one who is engaged. Asita Matpara, unto me. Matpara means devoted to me. Para means devoted. Matpara, devoted to me, Krishna. Right? Tani Sarvani Sanyamya. So, controlling the senses, not only needed, necessary. Along with that, what is important? Controlling the senses, focusing the mind on Krishna. Matpara. Vashehi yasya indriyani. And whose senses are under his control. Tasya prajna pratisthita. That person has a steady intelligence. So Prabhupada, as usual, that the highest conception of yoga, perfection, is Krishna consciousness is clearly explained in this verse. Prabhupada got that point. Clearly it is mentioned, Matpara. In this verse, it is clearly mentioned, Matpara. So Prabhupada points that. And unless one is Krishna conscious, it is not at all possible to control the senses. And he again gives the example of Amrish Maharaj. All his senses were absorbed in Krishna conscious activity. The word Matpara is most significant in this connection. How can one become Matpara is described in the life of Amrish Maharaj. Shri Baldev Vidyabhushan, a great scholar and Acharya in the line of Matpara, remarks, Mad Bhakti Prabhavena Sarvendriya Vijaya Purvika Swatma Drishti Swalabheti Bhavaha. The self, the senses can be completely controlled only by the strength of devotional service to Krishna. That's all. Only by Krishna conscious activity this can be achieved, not otherwise. So the person whose senses have been brought under the control, vasehi yasya indriya. So person whose senses have been brought under the control is a Tirtha Pragya. This distinguishes himself from the sadhaka stage, previous one, the person attempting to do that. In the previous one, the person who is attempting sadhaka, but still his mind goes away. Right? And here, it is somebody who has controlled the senses and focusing on the law. Tasya prajna pratisthita. So you see the difference? One place it is sadhaka and here it is a person who has already brought it under the control. So that person is Sthita Prajna, who has focused on the law. Yes?
A person is by nature sattvic. He does not take any of the regular principles by nature. But he is not Krishna conscious. By nature, he is not breaking the principles.
He cannot remain from breaking the principles if he is not Krishna conscious.
He may be a sattvic person.
Sattvic person, but he is not pure. Because beyond sattvic is Shuddha Sattva. Utilizing everything in.
Those people who are not interested in the intoxication.
Correct.
But they are not Krishna conscious. Other examples of person who is Krishna conscious, practicing since years. But he may be attached to one of the regulatory principles.
Yeah.
So who is in a better position? One is not breaking the principles because he is by nature sattvic, but not interested in Krishna consciousness. The other person is very much interested, but still attached to one of the regulatory principles. So who is in a better position to reach peace Krishna?
Okay. I'll read that. Huh? Second person who is Krishna, practicing Krishna consciousness, he's on track.
He's on track. To one of them.
Yes, because of the conditioning, upbringing, conditioning, right? But he's on the track. He will have to pass through that test. Yeah, I'll have to control the senses. But how will that happen? Not externally. By practicing Krishna consciousness, naturally, automatically, the senses will be controlled. Another person, his senses are controlled, which is not possible. It looks like it's not indulging, but it's not possible. Even a single senses, we will come to that verse. Which is that verse? Indriyanam hi charatam, 67. Yan mano anuvidyate, tadasya harati pragyam, vayur navam ivambashi. A strong wind sweeps away a boat on a water. Even one of the roaming senses, as which the mind focus can carry away a man's intelligence. Unless all of the senses are engaged in the service of the Lord, even one of them engaged in sense gratification can deviate the devotee from the path of transcendental advancement. Spoken about devotee, even one sense is not absorbed in Krishna. Or to speak of non-devotee, how can he remain self-control? Because life's goal is what? Happiness, either from Krishna or from material. Externally, it is looking very calm, quiet. Not possible. Ah,
Very
strict.
They are like, look as if they're
Totally aloof. Yeah. Because what we see, we are we staying with them 24 hours? Even wife would not be staying. Yeah, wife would not be staying 24 hours. Paramatma is there. Lord is telling it's not possible. Without devotion to Krishna, one cannot control the senses at all. Matpara, mind has to focus. Senses will absorb. And then next question, last question was, how does he engage his senses? So in that engagement of his senses, even if one is not subdued his senses, but if his mind is absorbed in Krishna, Sthita Pragya, he'll become Sthita Pragya. See, senses are not subdued, but mind is absorbed in Krishna, then he will become Sthita Pragya. But here somebody is not a devotee, there only it fails. Because if there is no Krishna, there will be sense enjoyment. One may refrain, one may be refraining because of Sattva Guna, but not possible in a longer run. See,
the long way.
yeah, because life is long. It's not this life, next life. Because that person will come back, na? He has not Krishna as a goal. He's just practicing some bodily thing. He will get Swargloka or something, but he will have to come back.
Some period of time it may appear that
It may happen, some period.
eventually they will.
Yeah. Has to fall down. Has to fall down. So, where were we? Verse number 16? No, 61. See, here, let's read this. 61 verse. Prabhupada says that. Durvasa Muni picked up the quarrel with Ambrish Maharaj, and Durvasa Muni unnecessarily became angry out of pride and therefore could not check his senses. See, now, can you give better example than Durvasa Muni? Jain na? Durvasa. Vasa. Dur. Nanga बोलने से अच्छा दुर्वासा बोलना. See, Nanga, like Digambar. What do you mean by Digambar? अंबर जो है, अंबर में मैंने उसका कवरिंग क्या है? अंबर. नंगा बोलने से अच्छा दिगंबर. Who is sky is covering means they are naked. Durvasa, one who is naked, जिसने कपड़े ही नहीं पहने, means he is so detached. कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ता. What people will say, detached. Such a sannyasi, Durvasa, detached person. Right? Now, some person did not agree, or not agree means just he broke the fast, became so angry. So not every time Durvasa Muni will be like that. He gets pleased also and he gets angry also. So that Jain Muni will be sometime, like in the front, but then when the agitation will come in the form anytime, one thing drives away.
Bhagavatam also gives the example of Saubhari.
Yeah, so very Muni. See, no, sit so many thousands of years, you're sitting below in the ocean. Because outside people will come and disturb, no? In the ocean, who will disturb? He went to that ocean. But just seeing the two fishes mating, one sense gone. So pramatini, indriyani pramati, prasabhammana takes away the mind even of a wise man. Prabhupada says that even Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma, it will come. We'll read that. Cannot give up. Can you imagine? Which Haridas Thakur would give. Even to the Yoga Maya personified lady came in front. Can you imagine? Yoga Maya potency of Lord is coming in front. Maya Devi herself is coming and enticing her to Haridas Thakur, and he is like, let me complete my round. Ek din, do din, teen din, my God, what is this? That shows that without bhakti, impossible. That's why having that faith, Krishna Bhakti Kaila, Sarva Karma Siddha hoy. Having that faith that with Krishna's Bhakti only all our work will be purified or will lead success. That is Shraddha. Shraddha Shabde Sudrida Nischay. Shraddha Shabde Kahile. What is Shraddha? Shraddha Shabde Kahile Sudrida Nischay. व्यवसाय आत्मिका बुद्धि सुदृढ़ निश्चय कृष्ण भक्ति कहले having done Krishna Bhakti, Sarva Karma Siddha hoy. All our activities gain success by just performing Bhakti. It may be attaining sense control, it may be attaining whatever. Krishna Bhakti once done, that will only lead to success. That's Shraddha. So you see here it is Tani Sarvani Sayam Yukta Asid Matpara, focusing on me. If that is not done, it's impossible. Then you see here it is verse 62. Before we'll read this, the word Matpara in verse 61, last para, the word Matpara is more significant in this connection. How one can become Matpara is described in the life of Amrish Maharaj. Shri Baldev Vidyabhushan mentions this, and then also the example of fire is sometimes given. As a blazing fire burns everything within a room, Lord Vishnu, situated in the heart of the yogi, burns all kinds of impurities. The Yoga Sutra also prescribes meditation of Vishnu and not meditation on void. The so-called yogis who meditate on something other than Vishnu simply waste their time in vain, search for some phantasmagoria. We have to be Krishna conscious, devoted to the personality of Godhead. This is the aim of the real yoga. Now those munis who are meditating on what they are meditating. Shastra says meditate on Vishnu. They don't even know that. What they are doing tapasya for. They are controlling the senses, but what they are meditating, mind. The mind is not absorbed. One cannot give up the desires. Sarvan Partha Manogata. So you ask that person, Munimji, what is your desire? What do you want to achieve? What will they reply? No desire? There will be some desire, right? Even not having any desire is also a desire. I don't want any desire in my mind is also a desire. So what is the desire? Ask, you'll come to know. Moksha, that is also a desire. That is also materialistic.
Everything on for Venka effort.
That's the Gyan Yoga. Yogi, Ashtanga yogi, Ashtanga yogi, Atma, Paramatma, all this. Unless it leads to Krishna, Bhakti, one will fall down. Atma, Paramatma, one will attain the Brahma Jyoti. But connection with Krishna or reciprocation, exchange, that won't happen. And in Brahma Jyoti, what will one? Oblivion. It's not pleasing to the heart. It's not a natural constitutional position. It's not blissful. So one will come back.
Brahmajyoti is also beyond the material.
Beyond, yes, yes.
Beyond material.
But not inside the spiritual world.
So
It's a spiritual sky. It's a spiritual sky, but not spiritual world, planet. Just like somebody, like people who come, no? मंदिर में आके बहुत सुकून मिलता है. I like that peace. You remain in peace. Alone. जो परेशान करने वाले हैं ना, nobody is, you just remain. We'll give you food, clothing, shelter. You remain like this. Will that person remain? Who wants peace? Sometime bhog, त्याग. Bhog, sense gratification. But sense gratification brings what? Passion brings pain, struggle. So it is not satisfying. So then what happens? When that person feels that heat of that bhog, not santushta, then what? Pendulum. अभी कुछ नहीं चाहिए. Just peace. बहुत परेशान करते हैं लोग. ये बच्चे वाइफ बहुत परेशान करते, नहीं देखना ही नहीं उनको. बोले अरे यार मजा ही नहीं लाइफ में, किसके साथ आदर प्रदान करेंगे? Because they have not experienced the higher, so then they go back again. So bhog त्याग, bhog त्याग. You see,
Indra had sent Indra. So Indra was the lower consciousness because that is material, and Vishwamitra was Brahmajyoti consciousness. So Indra had to reach, disturb somebody in this Brahmajyoti consciousness.
now see, he was practicing. And what happens when one practices and controls the senses, he becomes so strong that he can achieve the position of Indra if he wants. Therefore, Indra is always scared of devotees who is practicing. That he wants my position or is really beyond, he wants Krishna. If he wants Krishna, leke ja. But if he is taking my position, he did not know what Vishwamitra is up to. So he sends.
But he had to reach to disturb somebody who's in the consciousness.
No. He can't. He can send the people. Like even Narnarayan Rishi, so Supreme Lord practicing. So Indra can at least send. So he was sending Apsara. He was sending in some piece. He was sending just. But he was not successful because he was seeing only kisko leke aaya. He produced from his lab Urvashi. Leke ja. And Indra kind of, oh Urvashi, welcome. वो एकदम फर्स्ट क्लास, उसका टॉप क्लास उर्वशी उनके वहां पे है. He is happy with that. He cannot disturb. He can only send objects, but he cannot disturb. That is up to the consciousness of Vishwamitra. Vishwamitra.
So aspiring to Brahmajyoti.
Yeah, he is aspiring. He is not reached.
Aspiring.
Yeah, up to the person. So you see, even the people, such kind of people who are like so controlled, sense control, that's why he could focus, right? But then one anger gave up. Similarly, it looks like the people, when we see, people may be so staunch, so maybe so kind of a sannyasi and, like detached. But that's not attracting Krishna. That's not the control, sense control. That's the harshness. Sannyas is like a harsh life. It's not good for bhakti. So detached. Bhakti means neither to detach nor to attach. Attached to Krishna. So people who are attached, try to attach to Krishna. People who are detached, take for Krishna's service. Like Prabhupada did not want you to take sannyas. He said, my Guru Maharaj forced me. My Guru Maharaj forced me to take. So you see, he told me many times. Prabhupada was telling. So now, verse 63. Krodhat bhavati sammoha. Sammoha smriti vibrama. Oh, 62? Okay. ध्यायतो विषया पुंसाम् संगस्तेषुपजायते संगात् संजायते कामः कामात् क्रोधोऽपि जायते. सो ध्यायतो मीन्स ध्यान करना. विषया पुंसाम, विषय मीन्स सेंस ऑब्जेक्ट, पुंसा मीन्स ह्यूमन बीइंग. So a person who meditates on the sense object, what happens? Sangha. Sangha means attachment. Teshu, into sense object. Upajayate, gets attached to the sense object. Anybody who meditates on something gets attached to that. Sangat sanjayate kama. And from that attachment, what arises? Desire. Desire for what? To enjoy. Take pleasure from that. Person may see that. Oh, let me just, oh, अच्छा feeling हो रहा है. You know, person may think, you know, like thinking of anything. Oh, feeling good, nice. Maybe taking pleasure from that activity. But then what happens? Attached, gets attached. And then wants to enjoy that. Sangasteshu upajayate, sangat sanjayate kama. Strong desire to enjoy that calm. Kamat krodho bijayate. And if some obstacle comes, then what happens? Anger arises. क्रोधात् भवति सम्मोहा. सम्मोहात् स्मृति विभ्रमा. स्मृति भ्रंशात् बुद्धिनाशो. बुद्धिनाशात् प्रणश्यति. क्रोधात् भवति सम्मोहा. What is सम्मोहा? सम्मोहा means moha. Sammoha, from perfect illusion. So moha, Arjuna got mohit. And because of that, he did not know what is to be done and what is not to be done. That means laws of discrimination, laws of viveka buddhi. I'm talking about sammoha, right? One who does not know what is to be done and what is not to be done. So krodh, because in anger, na, अरे खुद का ही टीवी है, मैच तो लूज हो गया बट खुद का ही टीवी है. Anger, one is plucking that, or you know why? Because he does not know that it's not to be done. Mohit ho gaya, does not know what is to be done, what is not to be done. So sammoha, krodhat bhavati. So the bewilderment or the laws of discrimination, and because of that laws of discrimination, what will happen? Krodhat bhavati sammoha smriti vibrama. Smriti means memory. Vibrama. Bewilderment. Smriti. What? कौन सी स्मृति? स्मृति मीन्स रिमेम्बरेंस ना, मेमोरी. तो क्या था मेमोरी में जो अभी भूल गया? हाँ?
Learning what what to do this, what you have to get.
हाँ. लास्ट टाइम गुस्सा हो गया था, पत्नी को गाली दिया और पत्नी ने खाना नहीं बनाया. भूल गया ना. He does not know कि गुस्से में मैंने ये किया था, उसका रिजल्ट क्या भुगतना पड़ा. लास्ट टाइम, अभी तो टीवी फोड़ा, लास्ट टाइम पत्नी को गाली दिया या पत्नी को जोर से बोल दिया. तो पत्नी क्या है? ऑब्जेक्ट नहीं है. उसने फिर अपना रिएक्शन दिया, खाना नहीं बनाया, तो भूखा रहना पड़ा. सो ही नोज कि ये करने पे ऐसा होता है, गुस्सा होने पे अगर ऐसे बोलने या कुछ भी मस्ती करने पे ऐसा रिजल्ट आता है. दैट स्मृति इज गॉन. तो गुस्से आने में पर्सन डज नॉट नो व्हाट इज टू बी डन, व्हाट इज नॉट टू बी डन, राइट और रॉन्ग भूल जाता है. एंड देन दैट स्मृति ऑल्सो विच विल कॉशन हिम, बाबा सी यू लास्ट टाइम यू गॉट दैट पनिशमेंट, हाउ डू यू वांट अगेन, बट दैट पनिशमेंट ऑल्सो इज फॉरगॉटन. दैट स्मृति ऐसा करने पे ऐसा होता है इज ऑल्सो फॉरगॉटन. कि बाबा आई एम नाउ वांट टू प्रैक्टिस, दैट इज ऑल्सो फॉरगॉटन. व्हाट आई एम अप टू, मैं कहाँ पे हूँ, मैं सबके सामने हूँ, मंदिर में हूँ, that is also forgotten. Smriti. So सम्मोह स्मृति विभ्रम, स्मृति भ्रंसात. अभी स्मृति भ्रंसात फिर क्या होता है? बुद्धि, इंटेलिजेंस इज गॉन, दैट विवेक. बुद्धि नाशात प्रणश्यन्ति, मीन्स he does the thing which is not to be done. Because of this he gets again the body bondage, samsar mein aana वापस. बुद्धि नाशा प्रणश्यति. So pranashyati means he falls down, takes birth in the samsara, keeps on doing like that. So that is the sign. 63. So 62, dhyayato vishaya prumsam and krodhat bhavati sammoha. Why is this being spoken? Because the sthita pragya controls also the mind. That indeed is the cause of control of the senses. If one does not control the mind at all, what will be the result? These two verses says. Right? The control of the mind is being mentioned. That one has to control the mind. Absorbed in what? Matpara, in Krishna conscious activity. Krishna says, right? What if one does not control the mind? What will happen? So these two verses says. I'm just telling the connection. Krishna, when he spoke about Tani Sarvani Samyaya Yukta Asita Matpara, so he says, mind should be absorbed in whom? Krishna. Right? So first the control of senses is mentioned. Then one has to control the senses. Then control the mind by absorbing it in Krishna consciousness activity. If one does not absorb the mind, then what will happen? Mind will focus on dhyayato vishayam pumsam sangasteshu vijayate, and that will lead to fall down. Now from verse 64 till the end of this chapter, 672, verse number 72, answer to the last question, Vrajeta Kim, is answered. रागद्वेष विमुक्तैस्तु विषयान् इन्द्रियैश्चरन् आत्मवश्ये विधेयात्मा प्रसादम् अधिगच्छति. So rag and desh, from the anger arise. One whose mind is controlled by offering it to me. Vidhe atma, atmavasyai, vidhe atma, atmavasyai, vidhe atma. So one whose mind is controlled by offering it to me attains a pure mind. Prasadam adigacchati. He attains a pure mind. He experiences the sense object by the senses free of attachment and repulsion. So he experiences the sense object. So that means that it is not a fault to accept the objects of the senses. Right? How does a Sita Pragya Vrajeta Kim? So Lord explains that it is not a fault to accept the objects of the senses if it is done with the controlled senses, with the absence of attachment to the objects in the mind. Right? If somebody says that sense control or sense accepting the sense object, is it wrong? No, it's not wrong. Sense object one can accept provided it is done with a controlled senses, with absence of attachment to the objects in the mind. Right? With that intention, one says that if one conquers the mind with, there is no fault even if the senses are not subdued. If one conquers the mind, if the mind is conquered, then there is no fault even if the senses are not subdued. In the 8th verse, the Lord now answers the last question, how does the Sita Pragya engage in action of the senses? It is just said that even if one has conquered the external senses, if he does not offer his mind to me, his spiritual endeavor will be failure. I repeat, if it has just been said that even if one has conquered the external senses, if he does not offer his mind to me, his spiritual endeavor will be failure. That person offering his mind to me, that is Videha Atma. Atma Vashye, Videha Atma. Controlling the senses, Atma Vashye, Videha Atma. One who has offered his mind to me, achieves destruction of the impurities of mind, such as attachment to the pleasure, even though experiencing, that is Charan, the forbidden senses, sense object, by the senses, he finally attains the pure mind. So he may be subdued, his senses may not be subdued. He may be using the senses in sense object, but with a controlled mind. In the sense, not attached to the sense object, but he's just using it. That person, he will attain the prasadam. That means what? Prasadam here means mercy, or he will attain the pure mind, which right now may not be engaged in the senses, but with a detached mind. Because in the prarabdha, it is written, one will get the sense or sense objects. One will get sense object. In the prarabdha, if it is written, at least person will get bhar ke facilities, paisa. But the sadhu, he does not need, but it is coming from the front. What he will do? So Prabhupada makes it Krishna conscious without being attached, use it in service of the Lord. Right? Prabhupada is very clear. Use it in service of the Lord. Right? If it is written in the prarabdha, get all the sense object, use it in the service of the Lord without being attached. So when one does that, prasadam adi gacchati, he will get a pure mind. So even engaging in the sense objects, you see, he will get purity of the mind. Prasadam adi gacchati. He'll get the mercy of the Lord, or he'll get the purity of the mind. If it is used in service of the Lord. That's how it is. What will happen later on? Prasade sarva dukkhana hanir asya upajayate prasanna chetaso hi ashu buddhi paraya vasishtate. Prasade, what happens with that pure mind? Prasade sarva dukkhana, destruction of all the distress. 5 minutes. Destruction of all the distress. When the person attains a peaceful mind, prasanna chetasoi ashu, his intelligence becomes quickly fixed in Atma. That is the result. When he gets a peaceful mind, his intelligence becomes quickly fixed on the Atma. Nasati buddhira yuktasya nacha yuktasya bhavana nacha bhavayata shanti ashantasya kuta sukam. Now this is being spoken in a opposite way. That this verse, it makes the point by stating just the opposite. What is the opposite? For a person who does not engage his mind in me, nastir buddhir ayuktasya, there is no fixed intelligence. Ayuktasya means who is not fixing his mind on Krishna, there is no fixed intelligence. And no contemplation of the Atma. Achayuktasya bhavana. Without contemplation of bhavana or without contemplation of Atma, that is, na cha bhavayata shantir. He has without the there is no contemplation of the Atma. If there is no fixed intelligence, there is no contemplation of Atma, and without the contemplation of the Atma, there is no destruction of the thirst for the enjoyment. Shanti is the thirst for the enjoyment. There is no Shanti. And without the destruction of the thirst, that is ashantasya, kuta sukam. If there is no thirst for the objects gone, where there is a bliss. That's how in an opposite way it is being spoken. Indriyanam hi charatam yanmano anuvidiyate tadasya harati prajna vayu navam ivambashi. Even one of the roving senses which the mind follows steals away the intelligence as the wind moves a boat on the water. So this verse speaks about the failure arising from the lack of sense control, arising from not absorbing the mind in Krishna. Indriyanam hi charatam is Indriya, and it is char rahe hai. Yan mano anuvidiyate, even one mind focuses. What happens? Tadasya harati prajna. His intelligence is taken away. Just like the Vayur navam ivambashi. The wind blows away the now. Even one is not one senses gets attached to the sense object, one is gone. Even one desire will lead one to come back. That's how it is. Tasmad, therefore, tasmad yasya mahabaho nigraditani sarvashah indriyani indriyarthesbhya Trasya prajna pratisthita. Tasmad yasya mahabaho nigrihitani sarvasha. He says, O mighty armed Arjuna, he who completely restricts the sense from the sense object by fixing the mind on me becomes fixed in Atma. Indriyani indriyarthesbhya. By senses, he absorbs, is fixed by mind on me, then he becomes fixed in Atma. Tasya prajna pratisthita. 68. Therefore, O mighty armed, one whose senses are restrained from their objects is certainly of steady intelligence. Ya nisha sarvabhutanam tasyam jagrati sanyami yasyam jagrati bhutani sa nisha pashyato mune. What is night for all being is a time of awakening for the self-realized, self-controlled. And the time for awakening for all being is a night for the introspective sage. So what is night here means? When person who is self-realized, for him, the night is what is the day for materialist. What is the day for materialist? Sense enjoyment, taking pleasure in the materialistic activities. At that time they are active, right? So that when they are active, that is the day for them. That is a night for Sthita Pragya. That means they are not interested in those activities. And similarly, the opposite. What is day for Sthita Pragya means they are focused on Krishna. That becomes a night. That means these people are not interested in that. So that's in being spoken. Apuryamanam achala pratistam samudramapa pravashanti yadyat tadvat kama yam pravashanti sarve sashanti mapnoti na kama kami. Apuryamanam achala pratistam. Apuryamanam, always being filled. You see the ocean, always being filled with what? From the waters, from the lakes. Always being filled. Still does not cross the ocean, still does not cross the boundary. You see, so much water is coming. Do they cross the Chopati beach? They don't, right? It's coming. They are being filled constantly. So a person who is not disturbed by the incessant flow of desire. Similarly, the lakes of desires will come. The flow will keep coming. So the desires will come. As long as we have this body, the desires to enjoy will come. Flow of desires will come. That enters like a rake into the river, which is never being filled, but is always still. But still it is still. So the mind of a person, Krishna conscious person, is still. What desires are coming, but he does not give it to up. He remains still. He does not cross the boundary. Can alone achieve the peace. Such a person can alone achieve peace and not a man who strives to satisfy such desires. Sometimes somebody asks, a saint, that you don't get a desire. He said, desire do come. Then what is the difference? He said, I don't react upon it. Because desires will keep coming as long as we have this body. But not acting upon it. So therefore tolerating it. Vihaya kamanya sarvan puman sharati nispraha nirmamo nirahankara sashanti madhigacchati. Vihaya kaman. Vihaya means giving up. What desire? The person who has given up all the desires for the sense gratification, who lives free from the desires. who has given up all the sense of proprietorship and is devoid of the false ego, he alone can attain real peace. Nirmamo mama tvam nirahankarah sa shantim adhigacchati. It's a very self-explanatory verse, right? A person who has given up all the desire for the sense gratification and who lives free from the desires, who has given up all the sense of proprietorship and is devoid of the false ego, because he has realized the Atma, that is the real ego. Therefore, he is devoid of false ego. He alone attains the real peace. एषा ब्राह्मी स्थिति पार्थ नैनं प्राप्य विमुह्यति स्थित्वा स्यामन्तकाले अपि ब्रह्म निर्वाणमृच्छति. That is the way of spiritual and worldly life, after attaining which a man is not bewildered. If one is thus situated, even at the hour of death, one can enter into the kingdom of God. So that is the sthiti, Brahma sthiti Partha. Brahma sthiti. That is the Brahma. Brahma means spiritual, right? So that is the spiritual life, wherein when one is situated in such at the time of death, practicing self-realized Sthita Pragya, if one is situated at the time of death, then what will happen? He'll attain the kingdom of God. Prabhupada at the end, he mentions that Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has summarized the second chapter of the Bhagavad Gita as being the contents for the whole text. In the Bhagavad Gita, the subject matter are Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga and Bhakti Yoga. In the second chapter, Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga have been clearly discussed. And the glimpse of Bhakti Yoga has also been given as the contents of the complete test. So you see, Karma Yoga is given and Jnana Yoga. Why the Jnana Yoga? Because a person is focusing on Atma. Giving up all the things, he's focusing completely on Atma, Sthita Pragya, right? So he's focusing on Atma. He has to leave everything. He has to just focus on Atma. So that is on Jnana Yoga side. So Karma Yoga is spoken, Jnana Yoga is spoken, and also Bhakti Yoga is spoken. Samatvam Yoga Yuchyate. Matpara, doing it for me. When it comes, do it for me, then that is Bhakti Yoga. Very little. Right? And Karma Yoga is mentioned. Jnana Yoga is mentioned. Not clearly, but it's therefore the topic is contents of Gita summarized. So many things. Now, next chapter onwards, Karma Yoga. And that Durena hi avaram karma. Where Krishna says, keep abominable activity far away. So Arjuna thought, oh, fighting is abominable. Keep it far away. I should not fight. Taking that verse, Durena hi avaram karma. But what Krishna was meant as, without desire for the result, give up that. But he took it in that way. Sometimes people, they hear something which they want to hear. If somebody says like this, then like somebody is hearing, and suddenly something comes and that person says, give up. And that person may be eating some chocolate. Oh, give up. He's telling me. So see, his consciousness was eating chocolate, and some person who was giving a class, he just said, give up. And he gives up that. Thinking that, because he was thinking from that angle. You see, he was eating chocolate. So similarly, he was focused on not fighting. His senses were absorbed on not fighting. So when he was spoken about give up, then he feels, oh, that give up means give up fighting. It's abominable. And the topic under discussion was something else. So then he clarifies. Jai. Bhagavad Gita ki, Srila Prabhupada ki. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavad.
Dhanwad.